Happy Monday, everybody. Oh, you look fantastic. So tonight, I want to talk about a fascinating story right out of Los Angeles, a place where your yard is someone else's campground. 911 calls are answered slower than airline customer service, and the governor looks like a die-hard villain. But now there's a huge strike going on that could affect a business that's near and dear to all of us, which means
there's a civil war at Cinnabon, and it's delicious.
Well, wait, what'd you think I was talking about? The writer's strike? I mean, do you people even care? Missing Hollywood writers is right up there with missing Geraldo, Don Lemon, and Jokic.
Never over.
What do I care? So on Friday, workers in the Cinnabon in LA declared a strike and filed a civil rights complaint against their employer. The reason? The owner installed a policy banning political statements in the store, including pride flags. Pride flags. Oh, it didn't happen again. Phew. But it's true. An exec who oversees a bunch of Cinnabons sent out a message declaring that we do not discriminate or celebrate any particular race, ethnic group, gender-specific group, religious group. If any store is displaying a pride flag, it's to be taken down immediately. And one of the workers asked if a rainbow pin would be okay. He said, quote, non-specific pins are okay, but sports teams, groups, school pins are not. In other words, let's stick to doing what Cinnabon does best, making all of us grotesquely fat. Now, personally, I have no problem with a store that wants to fly rainbow flags. You can fly a flag for the Bolivian national pickleball team for all I care. That sport combines two of my favorite things, pickles and balls. But just get my order right. That's all I ask. I mean, why is it so hard to pour the McFlurry directly down my pants?
Oh, my God.
So why is this a story? It's entirely reasonable to demand employees not turn your bakery into a political rally. And the owner employs openly gay workers at the store, so clearly he's not discriminating. But that's not the way the workers took it. Instead, they called it homophobic. One said the policy made it feel like she had to hide herself, adding, quote, I started to not feel comfortable in my own skin. It really lowered my self-esteem, and I was starting not to like myself when I looked in the mirror. So wait, is that from the ban on flags? Because it sounds like she just ate a Cinnabon. I mean, that's exactly how I feel when I eat a Cinnabon. I hate myself. I can see the pastry in the mirror making its way down to a love handle. And herein lies a great philosophical truth brought to you by Cinnabon. As a human being, you are two people, the present you and tomorrow's you. And how tomorrow's Greg feels about himself depends on what present-day Greg eats. So if present Greg ate a Cinnabon right now, he'd feel pretty good, but tomorrow's Greg will hate his guts. So the secret to life is getting your present self to look after tomorrow's self first. And that's the only identity you should care about, not this other Now, oh, stop it. I don't like smatterings of applause. I don't like full applause. There you go. Thanks. That's so much better. Now, where did Americans get the idea that your office space is supposed to be some form of self-actualization? You're there to do a job, not to have your virtues validated. As for the owner who was just doing the right thing, he faces a civil rights complaint. Civil rights. Since when did where you work become your right to wear whatever you want? When Fox clarified their must-wear pants to the office policy, I didn't like it, but I respected it. And they're striking for their right to wear a button. I mean, do you think when unions were invented, it was for that? Do you think kids making shoes for Nike somewhere in a warehouse in China are like, hey, you go, girl? Now the employee also worried that she could be attacked for who she loves, adding, it's a dangerous world out there, and we just want to feel safe. In what world could be more dangerous than working at a Cinnabon? Doctors call that job the widowmaker. But the upside is, if there's ever a robbery, the frosting can be used to seal gunshot wounds. Now, I get being worried about safety in California, but to equate not wearing a pin as life-threatening shows you how much the left has perverted the idea of safety. Everyone wants to feel safe is always said before they cancel a speech. I hate to tell you, you D-bags, no one is that interested in you enough to do you harm. Why do you think fake hate crimes exist? People living bored and very safe lives need to fantasize that they're not. Look, most people don't care who made their Cinnabon, and they don't want to be scolded as bigots. They want a sugar fix, not a lecture. Nobody walked into your restaurant to learn how different and fascinating you are. They don't care who you slept with last night or if you get hit by a Mack truck tomorrow. You're simply not that interesting. So schedule your 24-hour celebration of yourself for later. Fact is, maybe one day you'll make something of yourself, but wearing a button while you do it won't help. Let's welcome tonight's guest. The closed captioning guy hates her because she can't keep up. Host of the True Crime Podcast on Fox, Emily Campagno. Unlike the New York Times, the headlines he writes are intentionally funny. Editor of the Babylon Bee, Kyle Mann. She's like day-old pizza, ice cold and found under your bed. Fox News contributor, Kat Tiff. And his shoes double as homeless shelters. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tyrus. Emily, you are a huge fan of the Cinnabon, right?
Yes,
Clearly. You have them all the time. You actually just go to the airport for that. You don't even have a flight.
I know. That's why I always miss my flights.
Yes,
I'm enjoying my Cinnabon.
What do you think about this this policy? Do you think, how is this a civil rights case?
It's not.
You're a lawyer, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you for that. It's not a civil rights issue. That's the whole point. So generally speaking, in stark contrast to what these people are arguing, employers can actually adopt and enforce workplace rules that prohibit non-work-related activities, right? And that includes purely political ones. That includes wearing buttons and shirts and the like. And the fact that these employees are then, the quotes that you read, where they're going from 0 to 60, that heaven forbid a workplace policy that's essentially like, hey, get to work, and says all buttons are prohibited. They're not saying just the ones that are just rainbow.
All buttons,
right?
Belly buttons.
But they're making a clear stance that all they want to do is have the workplace be free of all kinds of political noise and all kinds of nonsense. And the fact that the employees are extrapolating then their self-value, their identities, all of a sudden I can't look in the mirror. They say, what if Cinnabon doesn't have our back? If I'm attacked in the store, I don't feel safe anymore. That's a whole different issue than them saying, please don't wear a shirt that's going to distract the customers from that 900-gram fat, awesome dessert.
Yeah, you need to have those Sikhs with their sticks there to beat people. Kyle, I don't know about you, but I will not have a Cinnabon being frosted by somebody who isn't gay.
Well, that's a good policy. That's my personal policy.
That's my personal policy. But I don't let it infringe on others. I'll go in and I'll ask them if they're gay. And if they say no, I will go elsewhere.
Well, it's the number one thing I look for when I walk into an establishment. I need a special flag that says I am specifically welcome here.
Yes.
Kyle Mann of the Babylon Bee is welcome at this establishment.
Yes.
Or I don't feel welcome. So, I always need the button or, some way to tell what their sexual preference is, or I don't feel safe about eating the Cinnabon.
We've perverted the idea of what safe is, right? Remember try to think about people who went to war and talking about their safety, and now it's about a pin. By the way, it doesn't make sense. If I can't say who I am, I'm in danger, but then people won't know who you are, which means you're safe.
The Cinnabon itself is more dangerous because of its fat content than any of the policies in the workplace.
Yes, these people are murderers. Every Cinnabon kills like 12 people. That's a fact. Kat, have you ever had a Cinnabon?
Of course not. They are useful, though. That's how you know who's the most sad at the airport.
Yeah. It's true.
I just thought this was okay. Look, as somebody who has worked fast food jobs, I will say that I also did not feel that when I was working at Boston Market that I was being celebrated as a unique, dynamic individual.
Right.
I was making minimum wage.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the clearest indication of not being, celebrated for your uniqueness, because you're making minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
It's not somewhere that you're supposed to be happy. It's not somewhere that you really can be happy. And I know this because I worked with guys that would come to work on ecstasy.
Yes.
They were still not happy.
Yeah. And if that can't, change the way you feel about your job, nothing can. That's why I work at an ecstasy-making factory, Tyrus, when I was growing up.
Good for you.
I don't know. I mean, when you have to bulk up, have you ever thought about just sitting? Have you ever sat alone with a case of Cinnabons? Just like
I think
one.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday. She said she'd be home at 8.
Yeah.
It's 12. You called work. She's not there.
Yeah.
And the operator knows where she is but doesn't want to get involved.
Yes.
So you end up at a Cinnabons just eating it away.
Like
And then just when you're about to give up, just when you're about to eat that last, you look at the Cinnabon employee and go, could be worse.
Yeah, yes.
The problem, Greg, is it's identity.
Mm-hmm.
They see their Facebooks and they think they're influencers and stars. You're not even in a union. Why has he not fired them? They're at will.
Yeah.
So as soon as they took the will to step out and make signs saying that if I don't get to wear something that identifies me to be singled out, to be special, also to your point, Greg, if I was a gay basher or a homophobe, I'd be looking, there's the rainbow badge, attack.
Yes.
So they don't have that. So it makes no sense. You're not singling me out because I represent Cinnabon. I have to wear the uniform of Cinnabon. And it used to be those weird-ass hats, too, on top of everything else. No, the lemonade place is worse. Remember the lemonade place with the yellow and the red and blue and the
Never
little
understood
propeller?
that.
No, I understood that. That was an owner who was letting them know exactly where you stand.
Yeah.
My shop. You do what I say. You look ridiculous, make your lemonade and your hot dogs and be about it.
Wait,
know what
wasn't it like literally called hot dog on a stick?
Yeah, it's like something horrible.
Yeah.
Everything about it. But the point is, you're an employee, a low-level employee. You should be inspired to want to get out and above. Listen,
Yes.
I didn't always get to come to work in summer shorts with my hat on backwards, chilling. I earned that. I wear the same as everybody else. And when I had an opinion, the guy at Burger King was like, no, it's not your way, it's their way.
Yeah.
Okay? If you don't like it, quit. Make yourself something of substance to where you can decide, I'm going to wear pins and flair and all that other kind of stuff.
Also, they said you couldn't wear pins for a sports team or a school or any. So what's
no
just like
sports
no
stuff.
gay pins.
Nothing to take away from the Cinnabon accoutrement.
If you really want to just identify as a Cinnabon.
Because that's your job.
Yes,
Sell Cinnabons.
identify. I'm a
That's it.
Cinnabon. I'm sweet and sticky. And don't leave me in a hot car. And don't smear me on your naked chest.
Okay.
That's a private message to Bill Hemmer.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.